They utilized an engineering company, J.R. Evans Engineering, who was the same firm that designed and constructed the shoreline, who was contracted by Pulte. And despite the QCA's request to the CDD to make a change in their engineering consultant, because we didn't think it was good to have the same company that built this for Pulte be retained as the engineering consultant for the CDD. We've been asking that for about 3 years, and it falls on deaf ears. The CDD does not report to the QCA, so they can basically do what they want, and that's what they've done. So when the hurricane, and by the way, the same engineering consultant is the one that goes out every year and goes around and reviews his work and then says everything's okay. And then we have, that's why the QCA hired the third-party independent engineering consultant to go out, because we could see what was happening with the shoreline in very mild conditions, normal conditions for the state of Florida. And they still didn't make that change. So then the lawsuit was filed in May, and then Hurricane Irma hit. And when I talked before about Chip and I going to the chairperson's house a few days after the hurricane, we said, what are you doing? He said, I'll be getting hold of our manager. We said, please don't use your engineering consultant. And they said, yes, we are. So then we had to get the lawyers, our lawyers, involved, and what's called a spoliation letter had to be issued that prevented, it's a cease and desist to J.R. Evans Engineering, because his work on the shoreline could damage or spoil the evidence. So he was ordered not to do anything on the shoreline. We were then asked by the CDD if they could, after they did vote at their last meeting and use the recommended contractor that came through our attorney, through us to them, they voted on using that company. And that company has been somewhat slow to respond with their summary, but they did provide it last week. And I think I lost my train of thought here, but anyway, so then they came back to us after that and said, well, can Evans go out and start putting the fencing on the shoreline? And we were somewhat inclined to say, well, okay, they voted to use, this company to come up with the engineering fix. Maybe it would be okay. But went to the attorney to ask the question, and she said, absolutely not, because what could happen is then he becomes the person who calls the shots on what's damaged and what isn't. And when we sent that message, all hell broke loose. So I'm sorry, but that's where we're at. This is taking longer than it should have, and I'm sorry to say that if the CDD, and I say this to their face, if they had listened to the QCA several years ago and made the change, and especially they could have made the change when Scott Brooks from Pulte stepped down off the CDD board in the fall of last year. That was the perfect time to make the change because Scott was gone. Pulte's out of the picture, but they did not. And so then we have a major hurricane with major problems, and they had to go back to first base to start the whole process. Now they've got to go through an RFQ process. If they had the engineer of record that everybody was fine with, this work could have probably already started or started much sooner than unfortunately what's going to happen. We're going to be without our lake for a long time. All right, can we take our vote?
Okay. We've already had a first and a second. All those in favor of the board to adopt the 2018 QCA budget? The ayes have it. Passes unanimously. We move forward to the next item. Vote to adopt the special assessment for the single-family lot owners. I'll read this word for word. Resolution item for special assessment for Hurricane Irma. Whereas damage caused by Hurricane Irma has been extensive throughout the common property areas of the Corey Community Association, and whereas the QCA does not hold funds to deal with the emergencies of a magnitude such as Hurricane Irma, and whereas cost for repairs to community property has exceeded $600,000 to date and will continue to rise as the recovery process continues, and whereas the QCA met with the insurance broker and claims adjuster, but we do not know if, when, or how much of the insurance carrier will reimburse the QCA for damages, and whereas Florida Statute 720-316 authorizes the Board of Directors to impose a special assessment to meet emergency expenses. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors approve a special assessment in the amount of $345 per unit, with the understanding that the monies from the special assessment will be used exclusively for costs incurred by hurricane damage, and any monies reimbursed will be used to offset the annual assessment of the following year's operating budget. The special assessment of $345 per unit, 581 single-family homes, will be due and payable in full by December 31st, 2017. Failure to pay the full amount due by December 31st, 2017 will cause a late fee of 5% of the outstanding amount. Failure to pay the special assessment in full by January 31st, 2018 will cause membership privileges to be suspended. If full payment is not received by February 28th, 2018, the account will be turned over to the QCA's attorney for further collection proceedings up to and including foreclosure. Do I have a first from the board? Do I have a second? Open for discussion. Any questions from the audience? All those in favor from the board? Motion passes unanimously. So we'll now move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the vote to adopt a special assessment for all owners in the total amount of $750,000. Resolution item, special assessment for Hurricane Irma. Whereas damage caused by the Hurricane Irma has been extensive throughout the common property. Whereas the QCA does not hold funds to deal with emergencies. Whereas cost for repairs in the community has exceeded $600,000 to date. Whereas the QCA met with the insurance broker and claims adjuster, but we do not know if, when, or how the insurance carrier will reimburse. Whereas Florida Statute 720-316 authorizes the Board of Directors to impose a special assessment to meet emergency expenses. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors approve a special assessment in the amount of $833 per unit, with the understanding that the monies from the special assessment will be used exclusively for costs incurred by hurricane damage, and any monies reimbursed will be used to offset the annual assessment of the following year's operating budget. The special assessment of $833 per unit, in total 900 units, will be due and payable in full by December 31st, 2017. Failure to pay the full amount due by December 31st, 2017 will cause a late fee of 5% of the outstanding amount. Failure to pay the special assessment in full by December 31st, 2018 will cause membership privileges to be suspended. If full payment is not received by February 28th, 2018, the account will be turned over to the QCA's attorney for further collection proceedings up to and including foreclosure. Do I have a first from the board? Do I have a second? Open for discussion.
I just want to clarify, because this gets somewhat confusing. The $345 is for the people who live in the 581 single-family homes, non-custom homes. We had to do it that way because these individuals, the $345 for the 581 homes, they have their landscaping and the debris removal and those kind of things done by Centrum. The condos and the custom homes pay either the condos through their condo association, and the custom homes pay for their own landscaping. So when all this mess came through, they had to pay for this out of their own pockets. So that's why it's broken down into two. It's $833 for everybody, all 900 homes. But the people who live in the 581 homes pay an additional $345. Those people in the 581 homes pay a total of $1,178. This is due by December 31st. We need this money. We're borrowing from our line of credit. We're paying 5.25% interest.
It's fully extended.
And it's fully extended. That's why we need this money right away, and we're imposing severe penalties. Late charges, amenity, removal, privileges, those kind of things. We need this money by December 31st.
So condo fees only have the 800 and change?
Correct, the condos pay the 833.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the audience?
How are we getting billed?
How are we getting billed?
Yeah, it's November 7th today.
Our property management company, First Service, will produce statements and send them out to every homeowner.
Starting tomorrow.
Well, yes, starting.
Starting soon.
Yeah, starting soon.
We're gonna get staples.
You will get statements, unless you pay electronically, which you don't ever get statements from the association, you'll pay through your electronic way.
So electronically, it'll automatically get taken out?
No.
No, it will not get automatically taken out. You will have to go in and have that taken out.
All right, I'll go back.
Yes. Okay. All those in favor of the board? Aye. Motion passes unanimously. As for a motion to adjourn the meeting? Second. All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously.